Picture this. It's Tuesday afternoon. You're in a high-stakes meeting. The pressure is on. Someone drops a comment, a subtle dig at your competence. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe it's that coworker you hate. Your heart rate spikes. The cortisol floods your brain. Your vision tunnels. And before you can process the logic, you snap. You say the thing you can't take back. You burn the bridge. You look weak. In 3 seconds, you just destroyed 3 years of hard work. Why? Because you couldn't handle a feeling. Let that sink in. You think you are free? Look at yourself. If a stranger on the internet can ruin your day with one comment, you are not free. If a traffic jam can hijack your mood, you are not a master of your fate. You are a slave to your impulses, a slave to your dopamine, a slave to anyone who knows how to push your buttons. Most men live their entire lives in this reactive prison, bouncing from one emotional trigger to the next, wondering why they feel exhausted, anxious, and out of control. But there is a way out. It's not about thinking positive. It's about installing a completely new operating system for your mind, one that has been battle-tested by emperors, prisoners of war, and modern elite operators. Today, we stop the bleeding. Today, we take the control back. But before we install this system, we need to clear out the malware. We need to delete the lies you've been told about what strength actually looks like. Because if you try to build a skyscraper on a foundation of rot, it will collapse the moment the wind changes direction. When most people hear the word Stoic, what do you see? You probably picture a marble statue, a cold, unfeeling man, someone who stands at a funeral without shedding a tear, someone who gets fired and simply shrugs, someone who has murdered their own humanity to become a robot. Let me be crystal clear, that is not Stoicism. That is pathology. That is trauma masquerading as toughness. If your goal is to feel nothing, you don't need philosophy. You need a lobotomy. The ancient Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they were not statues. They were fathers, they were soldiers, they were exiles. They loved deeply, they grieved losses, they felt the same burning anger and paralyzing fear that you feel right now. So what is the difference? Imagine this scenario. It is a situation I know you have felt in your bones. It's 11:30 p.m. You are exhausted, but you can't sleep. You are lying in the dark, the blue light of your phone illuminating the ceiling like a prison searchlight. You open LinkedIn. You see a post from a former classmate, someone you know isn't smarter than you, someone who used to cheat off your tests. And there they are, smiling, announcing their new role as a vice president at a massive tech firm. Suddenly, your chest tightens. The comparison trap snaps shut on your leg. You start thinking about your own career. You remember the rumors of layoffs circulating in your department. You think about the inflation eating away at your savings. You think about your rent, your debt, your lack of progress. In a matter of seconds, you go from lying in a warm bed to drowning in a hypothetical future where you are homeless and a failure. Now ask yourself, is this thinking or is this suffering? The average person believes they have no choice. They think, I am anxious because the situation is scary. They believe the external event, the LinkedIn post, the rumor, the economy, is injecting the feeling into them. They are helpless victims of their own inputs. But here is the redefinition. Here is the shift that changes everything. Stoicism is not the suppression of emotion. It is the management of energy. Think of your emotional capacity like a bank account. You have a limited amount of mental dollars to spend each day. Every time you rage at traffic, you spend $50. Every time you obsess over a rude comment, you spend $100. Every time you spiral into anxiety about a recession that hasn't happened yet, you are draining your life savings. You are bankrupting your spirit, paying interest on a debt that hasn't even come due. The Stoic does not suppress the feeling. When he sees that LinkedIn post, he feels the same initial spike of envy. He is human after all. But then, the operating system kicks in. He pauses. He looks at that expensive emotion and he asks, is this worth buying? He realizes that envy is a bad investment. He realizes that anxiety about the future is a tax on the present. He refuses to spend $1 million worth of peace on a 10-cent problem. This is what it means to be untouchable. It doesn't mean you don't feel the punch. It means you don't help your enemy by punching yourself in the face afterward. It means you stop volunteering to suffer. How many times this week have you tortured yourself over a conversation that only happened in your head? How many hours have you lost trying to control what people think of you, only to realize they weren't thinking of you at all? We live in an attention economy, but the most valuable currency you have isn't your money. It is your peace. And right now, you are giving it away for free to every headline, every notification, and every insecurity that knocks on your door. You see, true power isn't about feeling nothing. It is about feeling the right things at the right time for the right reasons. It is about taking the chaotic, screaming energy of your mind and channeling it into a laser beam of focus. But this raises a terrifying question, doesn't it? If we stop reacting to everything, how do we know what actually matters? If we stop letting the world dictate our emotions, how do we decide what gets through the walls of our fortress? To answer that, you need a filter. You need a weapon so sharp, so precise, that it can cut through 99% of your daily stress in a fraction of a second. The Stoics had a name for this weapon, and once you pick it up, you will never look at your problems the same way again. That weapon has a name. It is the fundamental law of the Stoic universe, the dichotomy of control. But let's drop the fancy philosophical jargon for a moment. Let's call it what it really is: the investor's mindset. You see, most people are terrible investors. I don't mean with their money, although that is often true too. I mean with their sanity. Let's look at where you are putting your emotional capital right now. Imagine you wake up and check your phone. The news is screaming about a looming recession. The housing market is freezing up. You look at your investment portfolio and see red arrows pointing down. Weeks of gains wiped out in a single morning. Then you get to work and your boss is in a foul mood because his boss is in a foul mood. The panic starts to set in. You spend the rest of the day distracted, short-tempered, and knotted up with anxiety. You play out catastrophe scenarios in your head. You worry about the Federal Reserve. You worry about global politics. You worry about what your boss is thinking behind that closed door. You are pouring every ounce of your mental energy into these problems. You are emotionally all in. But here is the brutal truth that Stoicism forces you to swallow. Your anxiety has zero impact on the outcome. Worrying about the stock market will not make the line go up. Stressing about the weather will not stop the rain. Obsessing over your boss's mood will not change his personality. By tying your emotional well-being to things you cannot control, you have essentially walked into a casino, put your happiness on a roulette wheel, and prayed that the ball lands on your number. You have voluntarily enslaved yourself to chance. Epictetus, a man who spent his youth as a literal slave and walked with a limp because his master broke his leg, understood this better than any modern billionaire. He said, there are only two categories in life, the things that are up to us and the things that are not. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but if you actually apply it, it is terrifyingly effective. What is up to you? Your judgments, your actions, your character, the words you choose to speak, the effort you put into your work. What is not up to you? Everything else. The economy, the traffic, the past, the future, and most importantly, the opinions of other people. When you invest your energy in the first category, the things you control, you get a guaranteed return. You become stronger, sharper, and more resilient. But when you invest in the second category, you are throwing your peace into a black hole. Think about the absurdity of the modern condition. We are angry when the flight is delayed. We are depressed when it rains on our vacation. We are furious when a politician we don't like wins an election. Ask yourself, do you really think the universe is supposed to reorganize itself to fit your schedule? Do you truly believe that if you just get angry enough, reality will bend to your will? That is not just anxiety, that is arrogance. The Stoic realizes that the world is a spinning, chaotic machine that does not know his name and does not care about his plans. The market will crash, people will be rude, viruses will spread, loved ones will leave. This is the nature of the game. So, the Stoic stops trying to control the wind and starts adjusting his sails. This is the shift. This is the core filter. From this moment on, every time you feel a spike of negative emotion, you must stop and run it through this filter. You must ask, is this completely within my control? If the answer is no, then you must ruthlessly cut the emotional cord. You treat it like the weather. You might not like the storm, you might prepare for the storm, but you do not stand on your front porch and scream at the storm. You accept it as data and you move on. Imagine how much power you would have if you reclaimed all the energy you currently waste on things that aren't up to you. Imagine if you took all that frustration about politics, all that fear about the economy, all that insecurity about your status, and you reinvested it into your own skills, your own discipline, your own mind. You would become dangerous. You would be the only person in the room not checking their phone in a panic when the fire alarm goes off. You would be the anchor in the storm. But there is a catch. There is one specific area of uncontrollables that is harder to deal with than any stock market crash or traffic jam. It is the one thing that pierces our armor more than anything else. It keeps us up at night. It makes us betray our own values just to fit in. I am talking about other people. You can control your reaction to a recession, but can you control your reaction when someone you trust disrespects you to your face? When the world doesn't just ignore you, but actively attacks you? Most people think they have thick skin, but the truth is, they are bleeding out from 1,000 paper cuts they don't even know they have. And that bleeding, it doesn't stop until you realize that you have been living without walls. You have been walking through a battlefield naked, wondering why you keep getting cut. It is time to build your fortress. Think about the last time you felt truly small. Maybe it was in a boardroom. You had spent all week preparing a presentation, sacrificing your sleep, pouring your soul into the data. You stand up, you start speaking, and 2 minutes in, your boss cuts you off. He doesn't just correct you, he mocks you. He makes a sarcastic joke about your attention to detail in front of the entire team. The room goes silent. A few co-workers awkwardly chuckle. And in that moment, you feel it. The heat rushing to your face, the knot in your stomach, the crushing weight of humiliation. You go home, but you don't really leave that room. You replay the scene in the shower. You replay it while you're cooking dinner. You replay it while you're lying next to your partner. You fantasize about what you should have said. You imagine quitting in a blaze of glory. You let this one man, this one fleeting moment of disrespect, hijack your entire week. Why? Why does a collection of sounds coming out of another person's mouth have the power to break you? Why do you hand over the remote control of your happiness to people who don't even like you? The Stoics had a brutal answer for this. You are hurt because you agreed with them. Let that sting for a second. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, had every flatterer, liar, and backstabber in the known world trying to manipulate him. If anyone had a reason to be paranoid and reactive, it was him. Yet, he wrote a simple instruction to himself that destroys the power of any insult. If someone despises me, that is their problem. My only problem is not doing or saying anything that deserves to be despised. See the difference? When you let someone else's disrespect pierce your skin, it is because you have outsourced your self-worth. You are asking the world to tell you who you are. So when the world tells you that you are incompetent, or ugly, or irrelevant, you believe them. You open the gates of your fortress and let the enemy march right in to set your house on fire. But what if you didn't open the gate? Imagine that same boardroom scenario again. The boss makes the joke, the room goes quiet. But this time, you are standing inside the fortress. You look at him, you don't see a monster, you don't see a threat. You see a tired, insecure man who needs to belittle others to feel powerful. You see his behavior as data, not a definition of your worth. You realize that his rudeness is not about you. It is a reflection of the chaos inside him. It is his pathology, his lack of control, his bad character leaking out. Why would you be offended by someone else's sickness? If a man on the street coughs on you, do you get angry at his lungs, or do you just step back and wash your hands? This is the superpower of immunity to offense. It is the realization that an insult is like a package delivery. If you refuse to sign for it, if you refuse to accept it, the package returns to the sender. They are left holding the heavy box of their own negativity while you walk away with your hands empty and your mind free. You must build a wall between what happens and who you are. When you scroll through social media and see someone living the life you want, that envy trying to get in, that is an invader. Lock the gate. When a client sends a nasty email blaming you for their mistake, that anger trying to explode, that is a Trojan horse. Lock the gate. You don't fight them. You don't scream back. You simply refuse to let them land. You become like a rock in the ocean. The waves crash against it. They foam, they roar, they make a lot of noise. And the rock just stands there, wet perhaps, but unmoved. Eventually, the waves have no choice but to fall back into the sea. This is not about being arrogant, it is about being sovereign. It is knowing that your value is something you generate internally, through your own discipline and integrity, not something you beg for from the applause of the crowd. The moment you stop needing people to respect you is the moment they involuntarily start respecting you, because there is nothing more intimidating, nothing more powerful than a person who cannot be provoked. But be warned, building the fortress is one thing, guarding it is another, because even with the thickest walls, there is still a split second, a tiny, dangerous fraction of a moment where the enemy can slip in before you even realize you're under attack. It happens in the blink of an eye, between the trigger and your conscious thought. Most people lose the battle right there. They have the philosophy, they have the knowledge, but they lack the speed. How do you catch a reaction before it becomes a regret? How do you stretch that split second into a lifetime of freedom? You need to learn how to freeze time. To freeze time, you must understand the mechanics of your own destruction. That ability to freeze time, that is where the battle is actually won or lost. Because you can memorize every quote Marcus Aurelius ever wrote, you can tattoo Stoic virtues on your chest, and you can build the highest walls around your ego. But none of it matters if your biology moves faster than your philosophy. We are wired for speed. We are designed to survive in the jungle, where a rustle in the bushes meant a tiger was coming to eat us. In that world, you didn't have time to ponder. You didn't have time to reflect. You reacted, fight or flight. But you are not in the jungle anymore. You are in a messy kitchen on a Tuesday evening. Let's paint the scene. It has been a long, grinding day. You fought traffic for an hour to get home. Your brain is fried. You walk through the door, craving just 10 minutes of silence, and immediately your partner hits you with a complaint. Maybe it's about the trash you forgot to take out. Maybe it's about the tone of your voice. Maybe it's a passive-aggressive comment about money. Instantly, the tiger leaps out. The physical sensation hits you before the thought does. Your jaw clenches. Your stomach drops. A surge of heat travels up your neck. And in that microsecond, your mind loads the ammunition. You remember that thing they did 3 years ago. You remember that insecurity they have. And you open your mouth to launch a nuclear missile that will destroy the entire evening. Stop. This is the ambush. This is the moment where 99% of people fail. They let the chemical reaction in their blood dictate the reality of their life. They speak to win the argument, but they lose the relationship. The Stoics understood that anger is a temporary madness. Seneca famously said that delay is the greatest remedy for anger because it allows the fog to clear so that reason can step back into the room. So here is the tactic. We call it the 4-second rule. When you feel that surge, when the email makes you want to smash the keyboard, when the disrespect makes you want to scream, you do not speak, you do not type, you do not move. You force a malfunction in your own programming. You silently count. 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds stupidly simple, doesn't it? But do not underestimate the power of these 4 seconds. In that silence, a miracle of biology happens. You are allowing your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational, human part of your brain, to catch up to your amygdala, the emotional lizard brain. You are waiting for the chemical flood of cortisol to recede just enough for you to see the cliff edge before you drive off it. During those 4 seconds, you ask yourself the most important question in the world. Do I want the momentary satisfaction of screaming, or do I want the long-term peace of a resolved situation? You realize that the release of anger is a trap. It feels good to yell for exactly 5 seconds. And then comes the guilt. Then comes the apology tour the next morning. Then comes the awkward silence at the breakfast table. Then comes the realization that you just damaged trust that took years to build, all because you couldn't keep your mouth shut for 4 seconds. Is being right really worth burning down your own house? Is sending that nasty reply to your boss worth the months of stress that will follow? Is teaching that guy a lesson in traffic worth risking your life? The pause is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of strength. Weak men react. They are leaves blowing in the wind. Strong men respond. They are the roots of the oak tree. When you practice the pause, you start to notice something terrifying about the people around you. You see them as puppets. You see how easy it is to pull their strings. You see them reacting blindly, hurting themselves and others, trapped in a loop of stimulus and response. But you are the circuit breaker. When you pause, you break the rhythm of the chaos. You stare at the person yelling at you, and instead of yelling back, you wait, you breathe. And then you speak with a voice that is low, calm, and terrifyingly rational. You have no idea how much power that commands. In a room full of screaming children, the adult is the one who speaks softly. But this brings us to a deeper, darker problem. We have learned how to manage space, the space between the trigger and the reaction. We have learned to buy ourselves 4 seconds of clarity. But what about the bigger picture? You can master the art of the pause. You can become the calmest person in the room. But what if you are being calm while your life slips through your fingers? What if you are so focused on not reacting to the small things that you are completely missing the fact that your time is running out? We act as if we are going to live forever. We waste hours, days, weeks on things that don't matter, thinking there is always a tomorrow to do the important work. But the Stoics have a bone-chilling reminder for us, a truth so sharp it cuts through every excuse you have ever made. You have mastered the seconds. Now you must face the years. And that truth is the only thing that can save you from a life of well-behaved mediocrity. You see, mastering the pause stops you from doing stupid things. But we need to talk about something far more dangerous than doing stupid things. We need to talk about doing nothing. We need to talk about the comfortable, slow, invisible suicide of procrastination. Look at your Google Calendar right now. Look at your week. It is filled with meetings you don't care about, obligations you didn't ask for, and hours of dead time where you tell yourself you are just relaxing. You scroll through TikTok for 2 hours before bed. You binge watch a series you've already seen. You say yes to a dinner party with people who drain your energy. You do this because you have been infected with the most dangerous virus in the human experience, the illusion of infinity. You act as if you are going to live forever. You treat your time like it is cheap, like it is an unlimited resource that you can just print more of. You tell yourself, I'll start that business next year. I'll fix my marriage when work slows down. I'll get in shape after the holidays. You are spending the only currency you actually own to buy things that make you miserable. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, looked at the busy men of Rome, men running around trying to get rich, trying to get famous, and he laughed. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. We need to conduct an audit right now." Imagine you are 30 years old. The average lifespan is about 80. That means you have 50 summers left, 50 times to feel the warm sun on your face, 50 Christmases, 50 chances to change your life. That doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Now, let's make it worse. How many of those years will be spent sleeping? How many will be spent sitting in traffic? How many will be spent staring at a screen, numb and drooling, while an algorithm feeds you dance videos? When you actually run the numbers, you realize you don't have a life. You have a tiny sliver of a life sandwiched between obligations. This is the Stoic concept of memento mori. Remember, you must die. Now, I know what you are thinking. Great, this is depressing. Why would I want to think about death? Because death is the only thing that gives life value. Think about diamonds. If diamonds were as common as gravel, if you could just go to your driveway and scoop up a handful of them, they would be worthless. They are valuable because they are scarce. Your Mondays are scarce. Your energy is scarce. The number of times you will see your parents before they are gone is mathematically finite. When you truly understand this, when you feel the cold reality of the clock ticking in your chest, everything changes. You stop tolerating nonsense. You stop saying yes to things that don't matter. You stop arguing with strangers on the internet because you realize you are trading a piece of your life that you will never get back just to prove a point to someone who doesn't care. Suddenly, that someday project becomes a today project. You don't wait for inspiration. You don't wait for the perfect time. You realize that perfect is the enemy of done, and done is the only thing that counts before the lights go out. Ask yourself, if you knew with 100% certainty that you would die in exactly 1 year, would you be living your life the way you are living it right now? Would you still care about that awkward email you sent yesterday? Would you still be holding on to that grudge against your brother? Of course not. You would strip away the bullshit. You would focus on what is essential. You would love harder, work deeper, and live louder. So why do you need a terminal diagnosis to start living like that? Why are you waiting for a tragedy to wake you up? The Stoics didn't keep skulls on their desks to be goth or edgy. They did it to create urgency. They wanted to wake up every morning with the realization that the day is a bonus, not a right. When you kiss your children goodbye in the morning, you remind yourself that this might be the last time. It sounds dark, but it makes that kiss sweeter. It makes you put your phone down and actually look at them. It makes you present in a way that comfort never could. You have to stop killing time because time is slowly killing you. But here is the trap. Once you wake up, once you realize how high the stakes are, once you stop procrastinating and start building, a new enemy appears. It is the shadow of ambition. It is the monster that lives in the future. You start to think, okay, I'm building this life, I'm working hard, I'm taking risks. But what if it all falls apart? What if the economy crashes and takes my business with it? What if I get sick? What if I lose everything I have built? The more you value your life, the more you fear losing it. And that fear, that paralyzing terror of the worst-case scenario, can freeze you just as badly as laziness ever did. To become truly untouchable, you cannot just value your time. You must learn how to look into the abyss of your darkest nightmares and smile back. To smile back at the abyss, you must first stop running from it. You see, the moment you start taking your life seriously, the moment you start building that business, repairing that marriage, or accumulating that wealth, you invite a new demon into your home. It is the demon of loss. Suddenly, you have something to lose, and the human brain, in its infinite paranoia, becomes obsessed with protecting it. You start playing defense. You stop taking risks. You walk around with a low-level hum of anxiety, constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Let's talk about the nightmare that keeps half of America awake at night. It's the layoff scenario. You are sitting at your desk on a random Tuesday. The Slack notification pings. It's an invite from HR. Subject line: quick sync. No agenda, no details, just a 15-minute block on your calendar. Your stomach drops through the floor. In an instant, your mind spins out of control. You don't just see a meeting, you see a catastrophe. You see yourself walking out of the building with a cardboard box. You see your bank account draining to zero. You see the awkward conversation with your spouse. You see the foreclosure sign on your front lawn. You see yourself moving back into your parents' basement at 35, a complete and total failure. So, what do? You try to suppress it. You tell yourself, don't think like that. Stay positive. It won't happen. You bury the fear under a mountain of distractions. You work harder, not out of passion, but out of panic. This is what the Stoics called the slave's mindset. You are living in terror of a future that hasn't happened yet. The Stoic solution is the exact opposite of positive thinking. It is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It is the art of the simulation. Instead of running from the nightmare, you invite it in for coffee. You sit down, you lock the door, and you force yourself to watch the horror movie all the way to the end. Let's run the simulation right now. Okay, the worst happens. You get fired. Reality check. Does the world end? No. Does your heart stop beating? No, you go home. It's embarrassing. It hurts. Your ego takes a massive hit. You have to cut expenses. Maybe you have to cancel Netflix. Maybe you have to sell the car you couldn't really afford anyway. Maybe you have to take a job waiting tables or driving Uber while you look for the next thing. Is it pleasant? No. Is it fatal? Absolutely not. By forcing your brain to walk through the details of the disaster, you strip the monster of its shadow. You realize that the worst-case scenario is actually survivable. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, used to practice this literally. He would spend days living like a beggar, eating stale bread, wearing rough clothes, sleeping on the floor, just to ask himself one powerful question. Is this the condition I feared? When you look at the worst thing that can happen and realize you can handle it, you become bulletproof. Think about the psychological advantage this gives you. While your colleagues are walking on eggshells, terrified of making a mistake, terrified of upsetting the boss, you are free. You can speak the truth in meetings because you are not afraid of being fired. You can take big swings in your investments because you are not afraid of being poor. You have already simulated the crash and you know you can walk away from the wreckage. Anxiety is nothing more than a failure of imagination. It is a vague, grey fog of what-ifs. But when you turn the fog into clear, high-definition data, the fear evaporates. How much of your life is currently held hostage by a fear of something that might never happen? How many bold moves have you avoided because you were afraid of a little embarrassment? Who would you be if you were no longer afraid of losing? The simulation teaches you that your safety does not come from your job title, your bank balance, or your social status. Those things can be taken away in a heartbeat. A market crash, a scandal, a war, poof, gone. Your safety comes from the knowledge that no matter what hellscape the world throws at you, you have the mental tools to rebuild. You are the asset. You are the generator. But there is a catch. Simulating the pain in your mind is a powerful first step. It calms the anxiety, but your body, your nervous system, it still craves comfort. You can imagine sleeping on the floor, but that is very different from actually feeling the cold, hard ground against your spine. To truly become the kind of person who is unbreakable, you cannot just visualize the struggle. You have to flirt with it. You have to invite a little bit of suffering into your life on purpose before life forces it upon you against your will. You need to leave the simulation and enter the training ground. That training ground is what we call the grind, and it is the only place where the theory of Stoicism turns into the muscle of character. You can visualize the worst-case scenario all day long. You can sit in your comfortable ergonomic chair, sipping your oat milk latte, and think about how brave you would be if you lost everything. But let's be honest with each other. Until you actually feel the cold, until you actually feel the hunger, until you actually feel the urge to quit and choose to keep going, it is all just a fantasy. We are living in a crisis of comfort. Look at the average American life today. We have engineered the struggle out of our existence. We have climate-controlled cars, same-day delivery for anything we desire, and an endless buffet of dopamine in our pockets. We have become allergic to inconvenience. If the Wi-Fi slows down for 10 seconds, we panic. If the DoorDash order is 5 minutes late, we are outraged. If we have to walk 3 blocks in the rain, we act like we are being tortured. We have become soft. We have become domesticated. And this is dangerous, because when you are addicted to comfort, you become terrified of losing it. You become a slave to the things that make you feel safe. You stay in the dead-end job because you are afraid of the temporary discomfort of unemployment. You stay in the toxic relationship because you are afraid of the temporary discomfort of sleeping alone. You are letting your fear of feeling bad make your life small. The Stoics saw this trap 2,000 years ago. They knew that luxury is a golden cage, so they practiced what they called voluntary discomfort. This is not masochism. This is not punishing yourself because you hate yourself. This is training yourself because you respect yourself. Imagine this. It is 5 a.m. Your alarm goes off. Outside it is dark, it is raining, and it is cold. Inside, your bed is warm. It is the most comfortable place on earth. Your brain, that ancient survival machine, immediately starts bargaining. Just hit snooze, you can work out tomorrow, you need the rest, it's too cold. This is the moment of truth. This is the battlefield. Most people roll over, they choose the warmth, they choose the easy path, and in doing so, they cast a vote for their own weakness. They tell their subconscious mind, I am the kind of person who quits when things get slightly hard. But the Stoic throws the covers off. He steps onto the cold floor. He goes for the run in the rain. He takes the freezing cold shower. He skips the meal when he is hungry just to prove that he is not a slave to his appetite. Why? Why suffer on purpose? Because every time you choose the hard path over the easy path, you are callousing your mind. You are building an internal armor that the world cannot break. When you voluntarily expose yourself to the cold, the heat, the hunger, and the fatigue, you are sending a powerful signal to your nervous system. I can handle this. So when the real crisis comes, and it will come, you don't fall apart. When you lose your job, you don't panic, because you know you can survive on very little. When a relationship ends, you don't collapse because you know how to be alone with your own thoughts. When the world takes away your comforts, you smile because you never needed them to begin with. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something difficult purely for the sake of doing it? When was the last time you were truly hungry, truly cold, or truly exhausted? If we took away your phone, your internet, and your credit card for a week, would you still be a man, or would you be a helpless child? We are terrified of these things because we have forgotten what we are made of. We have traded our wild, resilient nature for a safety that is suffocating us. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who has never faced adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." By avoiding the grind, you are robbing yourself of your own potential. You are denying yourself the pride that comes from looking in the mirror and knowing that you are tougher than your environment. So, here is the challenge. Do not wait for life to punch you in the face. Punch yourself first. Take the cold shower. Fast for 24 hours. Leave your phone at home and walk in the woods. Seek out the friction. Lean into the resistance. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a version of you that is faster, stronger, and more alive than you have ever been. But there is a risk here. You can become the toughest person in the world. You can master the cold, master the hunger, and master the pain. You can build a fortress so strong that nothing can hurt you. But if you are not careful, you might build the walls so high that you can no longer see where you actually are. You might become so obsessed with your own strength that you forget how small you really are in the grand scheme of things. To complete the transformation, we need to leave the ground level. We need to zoom out, way out, until your biggest problems look like specks of dust. But there is a danger in becoming too tough. If you spend all your time grinding, fighting, and hardening yourself against the world, you risk becoming brittle. You risk becoming a prisoner of your own battle. You might win the fight against discomfort, but you will lose the war for peace if you cannot see beyond the walls of your own fortress. We need to change the lens. We need to leave the ground. Think about how you view your problems right now. When you are stressed, what happens to your vision? It tunnels, it zooms in. You are sitting in your apartment. It is a Tuesday night. You are staring at a bill on the counter that is slightly higher than you expected. Or maybe you are obsessing over a text message someone sent you that sounded a little bit cold. Because your focus is so narrow, that bill, that text message, it becomes your entire universe. It fills your whole screen. It feels massive. It feels overwhelming. It feels like a catastrophe. You start to believe that this tiny moment of inconvenience is the most important thing happening in the history of the world. You feel uniquely persecuted. You think, why is this happening to me? Why is my life so hard? This is the tyranny of the microscopic perspective. It is suffocating. We all do this. We walk around with main character syndrome, convinced that the traffic jam is a personal attack, that the rain is a cosmic punishment, and that our anxieties are the center of gravity for the planet. But the Stoics had a cure for this claustrophobia. They practiced the view from above. I want you to try this with me right now. Close your eyes. Visualize yourself sitting where you are. See your body holding the phone. Feel the stress in your chest. Now, pull back. Float up through the ceiling. See your building from the outside. See your neighbors. There is a couple arguing in 3B. There is a man crying in 4C. There is a woman celebrating a promotion in 5A. Pull back further. See the street. See the city grid. Those lights, they aren't just traffic. They are thousands of human beings. Every single one of them thinks their problem is the most important thing in the world. They are all rushing, worrying, loving, and dying. Go higher. See the continent. See the weather systems moving across the ocean. See the darkness of night chasing the light of day. Go higher still. See the earth. A tiny, fragile blue dot suspended in a vast, silent, infinite void. From this height, look for your problem. Look for that rude email. Look for that awkward moment at the party. Look for your career anxiety. Can you even see them? From the perspective of the stars, your entire life is a flash of lightning in a thunderstorm. It lasts for a microsecond and then it is gone. Does this make you feel small? Good. It should, but it should not make you feel worthless. It should make you feel free. If your life is just a blip in cosmic time, then your mistakes don't matter as much as you think they do. Your embarrassment is irrelevant. The opinions of others are dust. Why are you terrified of taking a risk when in 100 years nobody will remember if you failed? Why are you crippling yourself with stress over a deadline when civilizations have risen and fallen without ever knowing your name? This is the paradox of the Stoic perspective. By realizing you are nothing, you gain the freedom to be everything. When you zoom out, the heavy weight on your shoulders, the pressure to be perfect, the need to be admired, the fear of judgment, it just evaporates. It floats away into the vacuum of space. You realize that you are just a ghost driving a meat-covered skeleton made of stardust, riding a rock hurtling through space. So why are you taking yourself so seriously? Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, constantly reminded himself of this. He looked at the empire, he looked at his wars, he looked at his fame, and he said, "Soon you will have forgotten the world, and soon the world will have forgotten you." This is not permission to give up. It is permission to lighten up. It allows you to look at that bill or that text message and laugh. Not a manic laugh, but a laugh of genuine relief. You realize it is just a plot point in a very short movie. You can handle it. It's small. You are big. But once you come back down to earth, once you land back in your body with this new, vast perspective, you are faced with one final, unavoidable question. You have accepted that the world is chaotic. You have accepted that your control is limited. You have accepted that your time is short and your problems are small. But acceptance is passive. Acceptance is just. Tolerating reality. Is that it? Is that the peak of human existence? To just put up with life? No, the Stoics demanded more. They didn't just want you to accept the script of your life. They wanted you to do something far more radical, something that borders on madness. They wanted you to fall in love with the tragedy. Falling in love with the tragedy sounds like madness, doesn't it? We are taught from childhood that happiness is the goal. We are taught that a good life is a smooth life, a life without bumps, without pain, without loss. We write a script for how our future is supposed to go. Step 1, get the degree. Step 2, get the high-paying job. Step 3, marry the perfect partner. Step 4, live happily ever after in a house with a low interest rate. But then, life takes your script, lights it on fire, and throws the ashes in your face. Let's talk about that moment. You know the one. Maybe it was the day you came home to find your partner's bags packed by the door. No warning, no conversation, just an empty closet and a note that says, "I can't do this anymore." Maybe it was the startup you poured your life savings into. You worked 18-hour days, you missed birthdays, you sacrificed your health, and then the market shifted, the funding dried up, and you watched your dream dissolve into bankruptcy court. In that moment, the view from above feels impossibly far away. You don't feel like a cosmic observer. You feel cheated. You feel a burning, acidic sense of injustice rising in your throat. You scream at the universe, "Why is this happening to me? I did everything right. I played by the rules. This isn't fair." This is the crossroads. This is where most people break. They adopt the identity of the victim. They carry that failure like a heavy stone on their back for the next 10 years, letting it warp their spine and poison their future interactions. But the Stoic? The Stoic does something that seems almost inhuman. He looks at the wreckage of his life. He looks at the betrayal. He looks at the bank account hitting zero, and he doesn't just say, "I accept this." He says, "I chose this." This is the concept of amor fati, a love of fate. It is not passive resignation. It is active, aggressive enthusiasm for whatever reality has put in front of you. It is the refusal to wish for things to be different. It is the understanding that the obstacle is not blocking the path. The obstacle is the path. Think of it like a fire. When you have a blazing fire, It doesn't matter what you throw into it. You can throw in dry wood. You can throw in a beautiful painting. You can throw in garbage. You can throw in a dead animal. The fire doesn't complain. The fire doesn't say, "I wish this was oak instead of pine." The fire consumes it all. It snaps, it crackles, and it turns every single thing into heat, light, and energy. The more you throw at it, the hotter it burns. You are the fire. When you lose that job, amor fati doesn't mean you pretend to be happy about unemployment. It means you use the shock of the layoff as fuel to finally start the business you were too scared to launch when you were comfortable. The layoff was necessary fuel. When that relationship ends, amor fati doesn't mean you deny your heartbreak. It means you use the solitude to rebuild your relationship with yourself, to go to the gym, to read, to become someone so formidable that your past self wouldn't recognize you. The heartbreak was necessary fuel. Do you see the shift? Do you feel the power in that? When you stop judging your life as good or bad and start seeing everything as material for your own growth, you become terrifying to your enemies. Because how can life hurt you if you love the pain? How can the world break you if you use every hammer blow to forge yourself into steel? Nietzsche, who carried the torch of the Stoics into the modern world, said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." This is the ultimate freedom. It is the end of hope and fear. Because when you hope for a better future, you are rejecting the present. And when you fear a worse future, you are rejecting reality. But when you love this moment, this messy, painful, unfair, chaotic moment, you are invincible. So look at your struggle right now. Look at the thing you are complaining about. Stop wishing it away. Stop wishing for an easier life. Embrace it. Wrap your arms around it. Say, "This is exactly what I needed." Because the tragedy is not that things go wrong. The tragedy is that we waste the pain. We suffer without meaning. We cry over the spilled milk instead of learning how to milk the cow. Imagine looking back at your life from your deathbed. You won't remember the easy days. You won't remember the days you sat on the couch eating chips. You will remember the wars. You will remember the times you were knocked down and got back up. You will realize that the worst moments of your life were actually the turning points that made you who you are. So why wait until you are 80 to appreciate them? Why not appreciate them right now? This is the secret. The acceptance is not a surrender. It is a victory. It is looking at the chaos of the world and saying, "Bring it on." But loving fate is a mindset. It is a philosophy. And philosophy is useless if it disappears the moment you close this video and walk back into the noise of your daily life. You have the theory. You have the perspective. You have the fire. But how do you keep the fire burning when the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning and the world tries to drag you back into the asylum? You don't need more inspiration. You need a protocol. You don't need more inspiration. Inspiration is cheap. Inspiration is a sugar rush that feels amazing at 2 a.m. when you are watching a motivational video, but it crashes and burns the moment you wake up at 7 a.m. to a cold room and a screaming alarm clock. You need a protocol. You need a rigid, unbreakable structure that holds your philosophy together when your willpower falls apart. Because here is the harsh reality. Under pressure, you do not rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training. So, let's design your training. Let's build the 24-hour Stoic protocol. It begins the moment you open your eyes. This is the most dangerous part of the day. Your brain is soft, vulnerable, and searching for dopamine. The average American reaches for their phone within 60 seconds of waking up. You check Instagram, you check the news, you check your work email. Before your feet even touch the floor, you have allowed the chaos of the world to invade your bedroom. You have already lost. The protocol demands a different start. You wake up, you do not touch the digital pacifier. Instead, you lay there for 2 minutes and you run the script we talked about earlier. You tell yourself, today I will meet people who are selfish, angry, and ungrateful. I will face traffic. I will face technical glitches. I will face my own fatigue. You are not being a pessimist. You are putting on your armor. You are visualizing the arrows so that when they hit you later, they simply bounce off. You tell yourself that no matter what happens in the next 16 hours, your character is the one thing that remains under your command. Then you get up. You do something physical. You treat the body not as a pleasure island, but as a tool that needs to be sharpened. You embrace the cold shower or the heavy weight, not for the fitness, but for the discipline. Now, you enter the battlefield of the workday. This is where the drift happens. You get busy, you get stressed. The meetings pile up, the caffeine kicks in. By 2 p.m., you have forgotten everything about Stoicism. You are just reacting, snapping, and rushing like a headless chicken. The protocol requires a tactical reset. At lunch or in the quiet space between meetings, you must step away. You need to physically remove yourself from the noise. Go to your car, go to a park bench, go to the bathroom stall if you have to. You take 3 deep breaths. You close your eyes. And you ask yourself a single, cutting question. Am I driving the car, or is the car driving me? You look at the stress you are carrying. You run it through the dichotomy of control filter. You realize that you have been clenching your jaw over a client's opinion that you cannot change. You realize you have been rushing simply because everyone else is rushing. In that silence, you drop the baggage. You reset to 0. You walk back into the office not as a frantic employee, but as a rational operator. And then comes the evening. This is where the modern man fails most spectacularly. We are exhausted, so we numb ourselves. We pour a drink, we turn on Netflix, we scroll until our eyes bleed, trying to forget the day. We treat our evenings as a time to turn our brains off. The Stoic treats the evening as a time to turn the brain on. Seneca famously wrote about his nightly routine. When the light was out and his wife had gone to sleep, he would put his entire day on trial. He would act as both the judge and the defendant in the courtroom of his own mind. You must do the same. You lie in bed. You don't judge yourself with hatred. You judge yourself with truth. You review the tapes. Where did I lose my temper today? Why did I let that comment bother me? Did I speak with kindness or was I arrogant? Did I do the hard thing or the easy thing? If you failed, and you will fail, you don't wallow in guilt. Guilt is just another form of ego. You simply acknowledge the error. You analyze the pattern. You promise to be better tomorrow. And then you let it go. You close your eyes with a clean conscience, knowing that you are unfinished work. This cycle, prepare, execute, review, is the heartbeat of the Stoic life. It turns philosophy from a nice idea into a relentless machine of self-improvement. It ensures that you are not just getting older every day, but actually getting better. Consistency is the only magic trick. If you do this for one day, you will feel a spark. If you do this for a week, you will feel a shift. If you do this for a year, you will be unrecognizable to the people who know you now. You will be the person who stays calm when the building is on fire. You will be the rock that others cling to when the waves get high. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. We have built the fortress. We have sharpened the mind. We have established the protocol. You have all the tools to be a solitary, powerful, untouchable warrior. But Stoicism was never meant to be a lonely journey. It was never meant to be just about you and your peace and your strength. If you stop here, you become a monk on a mountain, safe but useless. To truly unlock the final level of this philosophy, to take this power and turn it into a legacy that outlasts your own life, you have to do something that contradicts almost everything modern society tells you to do. You have to turn your fortress inside out. Are you ready for the final revolution? We have stripped away the lies. We have built the fortress. We have handed you the ancient code to stand unmoved while the world burns around you. The theory is over. The philosophy class is dismissed. Now, the real work begins. Do not let this video be just another dopamine hit that you forget in 10 minutes. Do not let this be intellectual entertainment, because you do not have time for entertainment. Look at the clock on your wall. It is not counting time. It is counting down. Every second you spent today worrying about someone else's opinion, gone forever. Every moment you spent angry at the traffic, stolen from your life, never to be returned. You are dying. We all are. The sand is running through the hourglass faster than you think. Do you really want to spend your remaining breaths as a slave to your own anxiety? Or do you want to live as a master? Here is my challenge to you. For the next 24 hours, declare a stoic silence. No complaints, no gossiping, no internal judgment of others. When the urge to react rises up in your throat, you swallow it. You observe it. You let it pass. If you are strong enough to take this vow, I want you to prove it. Go to the comments section right now and type 3 words. I am ready. Make that public commitment to yourself. This channel is not for the masses. It is not for the people who want to be comforted with sweet lies. But if you belong to the rare 1% who are willing to conquer themselves so they can conquer the world, then subscribe. Join us. As the Emperor Marcus Aurelius said to himself in his own private darkness, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one.